Hello, stage 30, about the language one, the perfect passive tense, everybody. This is a good one. First of all, I'm going to take us off this page from our textbook, and we're going to just look at a simple Word document here because I want to show you something in really, really kind of sleek ways. So we've got amo, mari, amawi, amatis, right, to love, okay? Now, we have known for a very long time, and I mean all the way back to stage 22, stage 23, that this fourth principal part, in fact, let me get that, there we go, means having been loved, right? And it is the perfect passive participle. Okay, so the fact that it's perfect, remember that's past tense, right? So that's where we're getting the kind of have loved part, right? And the passive part of this is the having been with that verb to be in the middle. So having been loved is a really literal translation of the perfect passive participle. Okay, to make this into a straight up verb tense, it is super easy. We're going to take that same perfect passive participle and we're going to add something to it so it's no longer just a participle, it's a verb. And what we're going to add to it is actually the same thing that we always add, which is forms of the verb to be. So let's do this, amatis est. Okay, so now amatis est. So remember, amatis meant having been loved, right? Okay, well, est is he, she, or it. So let's do that. He, she, maybe even it here. And we want to keep it perfect and passive. So there's loved, there's the perfect part of it. Now let's get the passive part of it. So he or she or it has been loved. Or, you know, we could even say he or she or it was loved. So really it just depends on what sounds best at the time, but those both has or have been loved or was loved, those are both really good translations of the perfect passive tense. Okay, so going back to our book, you see they've given you porto portare instead of amo mare. So we have another good example here. And notice it's just the verb to be in all of its various forms in the present tense. Sum es est, sumus es sunt. That's it. So the sum es est, sumus es sunt is the thing that changes the subject, right? Portatis always means was loved. But the sum tells us, well, it's I was loved or I have been loved. Okay. The only other thing that I'll say here is that the difficult that part that you have to pay attention to, I think, is that when your skills are not super sharp and you're just reading some Latin, you look at that sum and you go, oh yeah, it's present tense, right? So it's like I am, and then portatis is like carry. And so it's like, oh, I am carrying or I am carried or something like that. So you just have to watch out for that because we're programmed. I mean, since day one, right, of Latin 1, we're programmed that sum and est, they are present tense. But collectively, this verbal phrase is perfect and passive. The only other thing that I'll say watch out for is the same thing that we discussed last stage when we saw the present and the imperfect passive, which is just that in English, it's difficult. You know, the nuances of active verbs and passive verbs are just a little difficult. So my goal as your teacher is to give you a ton of repetition to kind of ingrain this formula in your head. I was carried, you were carried, he was carried, etc. But the form you can see in Latin, pretty simple. So good luck with it. Let's commit this to memory, take that about the language buzz quiz, and ace this thing. Bye, everybody.